Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti along with Katie Stazak, and we're about to kick off another fun week here at Gulfstream Park. We're racing Wednesday through Sunday. We've got an 8-race card on tap, but boy, do we have some exciting news for you. We have a really nice guarantee. It's not a guarantee, it's a carryover in the Rainbow Six. $599,632. That to me means $600,000. It's going to skyrocket there. Races 3 through 8. That's very important when you have an 8-race card. Races 3 through 8. $599,000 plus in the Rainbow Six pool. And we have a beautiful day in South Florida, Katie. A fast-made track, firm turf course, another Chamber of Commerce day.
Just beautiful here at Gulfstream, and wow, we've got some carryover today. Should continue to grow, really. The bigger it gets, the more they play into it. I recently won the Gulfstream Employee Bracket Challenge. March Madness is over, and the sum of money that I get for that win, I just looked at that sum and said, wow, this bears in comparison.
Well, you should take that sum and put that into a Rainbow Six ticket is what you should do. Wednesday's first race card is a 1-mile turf event. As we mentioned at the top of the show, the turf is listed as firm. Claim it, 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 races in life, $12,500. One jockey changing here, and number 3, Pedro Monterrey Jr. will ride the number 3 horse in here, Ben Jacob. And we both went with the inside horse in here, number 1, Fancy Henry. Even though the 4 right up there now, Sammy Maudlin, the early favorite, you went with 1, Fancy Henry, and so did I.
Yeah, I think the top 3 horses that we have are the key horses in here, and you could make a case for all 3 of them. I ended up putting Fancy Henry, as you did, on top, dropping down from the $20,000 level for this start for trainer Wesley Ward. He was the beaten favorite last time out, but prior to that, he finished second, was only beaten a half length at the same level and distance over this turf course, so I'm kind of going to cross that last race out. And his lone career win came at the mile distance that he's going to run at today.
And you know, Wesley Ward had a fantastic championship meet that just ended the other day as far as stats go, and he had like 25 victories, 24 or 25 victories, and most of them with turf runners and turf sprinters. And this horse, I just like what DeBond's been doing all year. The horse I threw in second, Katie has in third, is Palace Gate. This one is another, going to get a little class relief today. After rallying to finish second, beat only a half length. That was against $16,000 2 lifetime claimers, going a mile into 16th. The only concern I had about this horse, the reason I put it in second and not on top, 0 for 2 at the distance.
Exactly. I was just about to say, don't think this is his ideal distance. I think a mile might be a touch short for him. That's why I had him lower on the ticket as well. He also knows the horse that I have in second and you have in third that's taking all the money right now, Sammy Maudlin, very well. He finished ahead of front of him in his last start, but the start prior, Sammy Maudlin had the edge. And Sammy Maudlin's taken a class drop as well for this start. He made his last start at the $16,000 level on March 25th, and I just thought he had some good recent form. Third, beaten less than a length in his last start, and second in the start before that at the $20,000 level. My concern here is that he has not won since 2012, but he's also run against some much tougher company. Take a look at the names that show up in his past performances. Irish Mission, Reporting Star, and Turkish, all stakes caliber and stakes winning horses. He'll get Eddie Castro today. He was off to a very nice start at this meet, so I can definitely see why he's taking the money early on.
Yeah, trainer Tino Attard got that rematch with the number 9 horse in there. Second race, 6 furlongs, claim is 4 and up. Non-winners of 3 races in life or a race since October 8th. $30,000 down to $25,000. Scratch the 2 in here, Real Steel. We both went with the 6, How Convenient. This one is the only 8-time winner in the field, making his first start since a really productive 2014 campaign up at Delaware, in which he won 2 of 3 sprints, 3 starts, 2 wins a second. Trainer Jamie Ness, who claimed him out of that final race back in September, has the gelding training sharply upstate at Tampa in preparation for the return. This is the time we had Jamie Ness. A lot of Tampa shippers start coming back to Gulfstream Park, and you have to pay attention to Jamie Ness. Looks like the logical choice, and you knew I was going to go with the only 8-time winner in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had the 2 Real Steel at the top of my ticket, and I was disappointed when he scratched because I thought that'd be a really nice value at 10 to 1, but this horse's form just jumps off the paper at you. He's run well. He's won off of a layoff before, so that really shouldn't be that much of a concern. I put the 7, and so did you. Gombe Dancer, second on the ticket, coming off a game-head victory in his last start here on March 27th in a lower-level start allowance. That was his first time even hitting the board since last July at Saratoga, where he actually ran second to a horse named the Big Beast, very highly regarded stakes caliber horse. 2 starts back, Gombe Dancer finished a well-beaten 6th at this level and distance. That was a little bit of a red flag for me, especially when he's at 9-5 odds right now.
Well, I was hoping the 2 real steals stayed in here too. Not that I picked them because I wanted the price on number 4, General Shama, to stay up there. This one's turning back to 3/4 of a mile and dropping into this condition, claiming ranks after returning from a 3-month layoff to show improved speed when weakening with the blinkers were added. But that was his comeback, and it was against $25,000 optional claimers going 7/8 of a mile. This is a much easier spot. Trainer Dan Peter, Edgar Zayas in the saddle. So I just think this is a horse that's spotted well. 10-1 on the morning line. I think this is a horse that you have to have on your exacta or trifecta ticket. Love to drop down back into this condition claiming rank, you know, where a horse non-winners are 3 or a race since 6 months ago. I think this horse fits very well in there. I don't think I'm going to get 10-1.
I think you should also keep an eye on this angle with the 3, Good Boy Charlie, and that's Jose Caraballo, elected to ride this horse over How Convenient. He was a regular rider for both, and he chose this one, so you might want to keep an eye on that and see how he performs.
Never play musical jockeys. Never. Third race, 1 mile allowance optional claimer. 4-year-olds and upwards, $62,500. It's a pretty nice race, even though we have 2 scratches here of the 3, Urban Cool, and the 4, and the 6, Dude Man, who was my 3rd selection. But really nice horse in here that we both have on top, Vince Ramos. So we're going to take a look back at his race, winning a stake.
Yes, if Vince Ramos runs back to the kind of form that he showed as a 3-year-old, you know, this is at Tampa Bay Downs. He was so game in this race. The rail opened up for him, but he really ran a nice race. This is the Sam F. Davis, a grade 3. He actually won a race here at Gulfstream, and that propelled him to this win here, and then he would go on to finish second in the Tampa Bay Derby. Super game. It looked like he was kind of stopping there in the stretch, and he came back on to score a very game head victory. Graded stake win. Plenty of back class. This horse ran in the Kentucky Derby, and you know, he didn't take to synthetic in the bluegrass. I think the Derby was too long. Also, it's a huge field, so easily to get in trouble there. But he did come back and show some promise, returned from a 5-month layoff and was 3rd. Then he was given another 6-month off, and when he returned here a couple weeks ago, he tired late, but he did have a rough trip. He kind of had to steady a bit at the 8th pole in that race. I think he's going to be much better today, 2nd start off the layoff, and Pletcher 25% in that category, and working very well at Palm Beach Downs.
She said it all. Number 2, Ghost Hunter, was sent south after posting a pair of really impressive victories at Tampa against $32,000 optional claimers, including a recent 9-length score at 1 mile and 70 yards, in which he received a 92 buyer for that race. Jamie Ness, who we just mentioned in the last race, Eddie Castro named on this one to ride. I think it's a logical choice in there. A Ghost Hunter. I also used the 7 Demander. Stepping up the competition, led virtually every step of the way to defeat $25,000 optional claimers, going 7 furlongs. Son of Yes, It's True. Look at his only previous win at this distance. It was right here at Gulfstream last March.
And George Weaver really on a bit of a roll as of late. He just scored a nice allowance win here last week with Chautauq. And also his 10 Sendur just finished second in the Bluegrass up at Keeneland. He does very well with these types of horses. I think that's a horse that's really trending upward right now.
Well, let's go to the turf for race number 4, mile in the 16th. Maiden claim is 3-year-olds and upward. We have no scratches. We have a full field of 10 runners. You remember in that last race, that's what started the Rainbow 6. You have to decide whether you're going to single the 5 Vince Ramos in there, so you can go a little deeper in these races. We both went with the 1 World-Class Kitten, plummeting to the $12,500 level. First start since failing to show much. That was his maiden special weight debut. It was at Kentucky Downs. It was last September. Mike Maker has this son of Kitten's Joy training forwardly for its 4-year-old debut. I just thought this was the logical choice in there, but does come with some question marks because it hasn't run in a while.
Yes, but I think Mike Maker excels with these types of runners. All signs point to this horse in this race, and I think that this is the horse that you might want to single in the Rainbow 6. Listen to these stats from Mike Maker. 16% with horses coming back from layoffs of 180 days or more. 19% with maidens making their 2nd start. 24% in turf races, and 23% in maiden claiming races. Everything says bet this horse. The trainer does very well in all categories related to this race.
I got a horse in here. It's a little bit of a price in here. I think he's 6-1. I'm not sure he's third choice on board. And that's the 7, and that's Don Q. This one is dropping to the bottom, getting Lasix today. Really had an eventful outing last time out at the 35,000 level. He checked a little bit at the 516 pole, and he apparently bled in that race. That's why he's coming back with the Lasix today. So a horse there that might be a little bit ignored, and a horse that I think you got to have on your, if not your Rainbow Six ticket, when you start your Pick 5 ticket in here. And we both used the number 8 Jams Parade.
Dropping down from the $20,000 maiden claiming level for this start, I think he should move forward. Third start off the layoff. That was an extended layoff as well for trainer Michael Petro. The numbers have been solid. Again, Jose Caraballo will be aboard.
And Mike Petro also has the horse. Katie has in third. That's number 2. You Are So Perfect. So we'll see how this horse plays out. The old adage of the uncoupled entry. You're going to see who's run here, who's going to run better. This one 10-1 on the morning line, right? I believe it's 10-1.
Yes, he is 10-1, and I think that's a nice value for him. This will be his first start for Petro. He does very well in that category. It will be his first start since last June, so that's the question mark.
We're going to go to our 5th race of the afternoon. This kicks off our final pick for the afternoon. Races 5, 6, 7, and number 8. 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Maiden claim is 3 and up, $35,000. Couple of scratches in here. A scratch the number 6 horse in here, El Guiare River, and the main track only number 9. The joke is on me, and we both went with the number 5 Viable Option, who's dropping today to the $35,000 level, turning back to the 7.5 furlong distance after switching running tactics in its last race and rallying from off the pace to finish 4th up against $50,000 maidens going a mile. It's a son of Big Brown. He has that tactical ability, I believe, to run on or just off the pace. He changed a little bit up last time out, and I think he's going to run closer to the pace at this shorter distance.
Seems to be a very versatile colt, which is a great attribute to have. Should definitely appreciate the class relief, and his 2 turf races were definitely his best efforts.
Number 2, Strategicon, who Katie did not use, and I put on my ticket. I believe he's a second or third choice on the line. Is making the 3rd start of his current form cycle. He stalked the pace last time out. He was 4 wide, having to steady a little bit at the 3/16 pole. He finished 8. He was beaten 7 lengths. Michael Matz, Eddie Castro. It's the son of Langford. Michael Matz, always known horses need a couple of starts before they run well. 3rd start off the bench. Maybe this is the day for number 2, Strategicon. We both have the 4 Caramello.
Yes, Caramello finished 3rd at the $25,000 level here on March 26th. Hit the board in more starts than any other horse in this field, so pretty consistent. If he can put in a similar performance as to what he did 3 starts back, he was 3rd, earned a 66 buyer. He'll be a force in here.
Well, number 3, Blastaway, who I didn't you used on your ticket 10-1. We like to see that, Jenna Antonucci and Edgar Zayas.
Definitely like that team up. He's making the turf to dirt move in his 2nd start off a 10-month layoff. We'll see how those factors affect him, but should logically be better 2nd start back.
Yeah, and this type of race, I don't really see the 5 a Viable Option as a horse that you can single, so I like the fact that we have a couple of different horses in there that we can use.
I agree, and I definitely would not be surprised at all if the 2 Strategicon runs well. He was kind of my first alternate, and I definitely think he could run a nice race.
Yeah,
as well.
it just always, traditionally when we watch Michael Matz, he always gives his horses a couple of races before they fire, and this looks like a logical spot. We're going to go to race number 6 today. This one's a 5 furlong turf event. Maiden claim is 3-year-olds, $25,000. Scratch the 2 Malibu Charlie, a significant scratch. That was the big morning line favorite. He's entered to run again on Friday. Jockey change on the 6 is Josie Gomez, and number 10 Eduardito is scratched out of the race, and we're going to both. I know I scratched into the 4th commission, and so did you. And this one had some trouble last time out. A little goofy in the stretch.
Yeah, he's going to get blinkers today, and I think this is huge for this horse, because you're going to watch him here. He was running a nice race and coming on, and all of a sudden he's going to veer completely out at the 16th pole, and he's going to lose a position or 2 because of this. Watch him right here. All of a sudden he does not want to come in, switch his leads. The jocks have a little bit of a trouble here, and look, their horse is able to, come out and get him. So I thought he ran a pretty solid race in his turf debut. That was also his first start since last August. Should really move forward off of that race if he can stay straight and narrow.
Yeah, well, the blinkers are definitely going to help. He must have spotted something in the stands that piqued his interest. And so the other horse that we have our second and third horses flip-flop. I went with the one horse in here, Born Canaire, I believe it is. Second at this level on February 25th, drops. Pressed the pace last time out, faded to finish fifth behind aforementioned the commission. Their recent clash at the $35,000 level wasn't beaten that badly in there. Just thought it was a logical choice. Dan Peter, Edgar Zayas, inside post this afternoon.
Yeah, I think the commish is actually a common factor for a lot of these horses because the 8 Cavaro is another that finished behind the commish in his last start. So that's why I think everything leads you to put that horse on top, though I do think that Malibu Charlie would have been I think he was your best bet of the day.
It was.
And I think he was probably the most sure of a thing on the cards. But I do think commish, scratching in Eddie Please at 30% first blinkers is going to get the job done. But Cavaro and Boricanier both know him very well and could turn the tables.
Yeah, and you know, that horse had a little bit of trouble, Covanero in its last race. You know, he's dropping down, but they're all basically the same level. They've been knocking heads at each other. He was 6 wide on the turn in that race, so he has a reason to improve in there with the drop down rebound. Let's go to race number 7, and this one is 6 furlong starter, optional claimer, fillies 3-year-olds. We do have scratch of number 4, Tangled Tart, and Tangled Tart was not on my ticket. He was 15-1 on the morning line, but the 5 certainly was on both of our tickets, and that's competitive player.
Looks like we saw things identically in this race, and competitive player might be another one that you might think about singling if you're not comfortable singling earlier in the Rainbow Six. Just the logical choice, this 3-year-old filly, looking for a second win in a row after impressively taking an allowance here by more than 5 lengths on March 19th. She's won 2 of her last 3, earned a 74 buyer for that last start. That would be 12 points higher than the last out buyer of any other horse in this field. Walder and Prado winning at a 38% clip together here at Gulfstream, and I think this one could have control of the race throughout.
Yeah, and it's a daughter of Cool Coleman, and for all the reasons you mentioned, Peter Walder, this looks like the logical spot. And I'm in agreement. You know, I went on my Rainbow Six only 2 deep in here because I actually took the 3 Scuba Sue along with it just for a saver. But I can understand what you're saying of scratching the number 5, singling the number 5 horse competitive player. Scuba Sue is going back to the main track after following commanding $12,000 optional claiming score in the dirt, then comes back and really placed ambitiously, finished 7th. That's against $75,000 optional claimers, going 5 furlongs on the turf. Steve DeMauro, the trainer, 22% with the grass to dirt angle. This horse was way over it last time out. I think there's a logical spot for this horse to bounce back.
Absolutely, and not only placed ambitiously, but placed on the grass, which is not her preferred surface, so the odds were definitely against her. Romped by 10 in that starter allowance. An effort like that will definitely have her in the mix.
Yeah, and it's sort of why I threw on back on the ticket there. I just was afraid, even though competitive player, if you singled it, I can agree with that 100%. The other horse we're using here was the 6 Joni Gale, who's dropping into the $16,000 starting optional claimer. Returned from the layoff to finish a workman-like 4th. This is another one that was really placed. It was a $75,000 optional claimer, going 7 furlongs on the main track. Luis Oliveras, Diego Gomez in the saddle.
The only knock I have is that she's coming back a little bit quick for me, but I do like the class relief, second start off a layoff, and the cut back to her preferred sprinting distance. Those factors could definitely help her move forward in a big way today.
So the puzzle continues. Do you single competitive player? Do you go deep? We made a case for the other 2 horses, so now you have to figure it out when you're doing your Rainbow Six ticket. But when you get to a race maybe like the 8th, there's another horse in it that sort of jumps off the page at you a little bit in here. This 8th and final race on this Wednesday card. 5 furlongs on the turf, maiden 3-year-olds, fillies, and we're going to go back and show you. We both have the 6 on top of our ticket, The Party Never Ends, and we're going to show you a race from that horse last time out. It was on March 1st, I believe it was.
It was, and I thought The Party Never Ends ran really well, and this is going to be her first time on turf, but I wanted to show this race just because I thought she ran very gamely, and she's going to brush with Mom's lap a little bit at the 3/16th pole. They kind of, bump each other a little bit, and but they duel to the wire together. She's just going to miss by a neck. maybe brushing, bumping a little bit, hindered her a tiny bit. She was also caught down on the rail. So I think she can definitely move forward. She's going to be trying the turf, so that is a question mark. But she's moved up one position with every start. The only thing she has left to do is win, so we'll see if she can move up that last position today.
Yeah, she's a $700,000 daughter of Smart Strike. Loves Smart Strikes on the grass, as we mentioned,
Yes.
making her turf debut today. There was pretty nice performances, those 2 sprints on the main track. Todd Pletcher, Edgar Zayas handling the surface switch today. Todd Pletcher alone. I just think this horse is a horse that I was mentioning that a lot of people might end up singling in the final leg of the Rainbow Six with overs going to have way over $600,000 in the pool. I just hate singling in the last race, because if you're live to then you only have one horse to count on. Another horse that we both use is the 4 Get Air Lex. This one has earned a check in 3 consecutive turf sprints and looked like she was going to win her last before getting caught at the wire and settling for third. She was only beaten 1.5 lengths in that race. Eddie Plesa Jr., Gabriel Zayas. This horse looked pretty good, likes sprinting on the grass. Unlike the 6, The Party Never Ends, who hasn't been on the grass, this one seems to relish 5 furlongs on the grass.
Yes, and her consistency merits her very strong consideration in this race. Like you mentioned, she does have the turf experience, so maybe that will give her an edge.
Yeah, and I went with the number 1. Well, I actually lost the 5 Songbook, which was my 3rd pick, but I do pick a long shot each and every day, so I moved it up a little bit, and that's the one, Sweet Elegance, and this one is eligible to show more. I thought it was a little bit of an eventful debut in which she bumped at the start. She was 4 on the turn, 4-1 in the turn. I think there's some upside in this horse, and she's a bit of a price you might want to throw. If you're not going to use her on your Rainbow Six or Pick 4 ticket, you might want to use her in the Super High 5. That they've been nailing this thing, and we talk every time Katie and I are on here. I'm still amazed at how they hit some of these, super high 5s. Pick the first 5 finishes in the last race for $1, and you get it. So one of those horses, maybe I'm not sure can beat a horse like The Party Never Ends or Get Air Lex, but certainly can be on the Super High 5 ticket.
Super High 5 paid more than $70,000 last week. It is a tremendous bet, and you could definitely put Sweet Elegance on there, 10-1 in the morning line. On my ticket, I have a 12-1 shot, and that is the 10 Stormy Allison, first-time starter for George Weaver. He's 20% in that category, and she should be suited to turf as a daughter of Stormy Atlantic. 7 published breezes since February, and a very consistent work pattern that I liked up at Palm Beach Downs. $150,000 yearling purchase. Tyler Gaffleone's going to pilot her in her first outing.
Yeah, and Tyler Gaffleone have been winning races in bunches over the last few days. Apprentice 5 pounds. It's got to be close to his losing his apprentice allowance. I don't know exactly when it will be, but he's been riding in great form. I did fail to mention the scratches in there of the 3, 5, 9, and the main track only 11, Fuzaichi Red, but don't fear, because our track announcer Pete Aiello will be here in just a few moments updating on you all the scratches and jockey change and everything you need, overweights, for today's card. So, Katie, we got that huge carryover. I keep wanting to say guaranteed. There's no guarantee. It is in there, $599,000 plus, which starts in race number 3.
It's almost $600,000, and it may not be a guarantee, but what is guaranteed is that it's going to be higher than that when the race goes on. So you better get your picks in there, because it's going to get pretty high today.
Yeah, they bet, like you said, they bet the higher the carryover, the more they bet. So it should be a fun bet. Starts in race number 3. Good luck with all your selections this afternoon. Fast main track, Fern Turf course. Good luck, everybody.
Enjoy the day.